Picture it. Your doctor writes you a prescription for metformin, one of the most studied blood sugar medications in the world. Decades of research, hundreds of millions of patients. There's a $15 supplement that has been tested against that drug across 46 randomized clinical trials. Not marketed as an alternative, actually tested, head-to-head, in peer-reviewed studies. That supplement is Berberine. And the data is more interesting than anything you've seen on social media about it, including the parts the headlines always leave out. Berberine is a natural compound, an alkaloid found in several plants: barberry root, golden seal, coptis. Traditional Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine used it for centuries, mainly for digestion and infections. Modern research got interested in something different. In 2008, scientists discovered that berberine activates an enzyme called AMPK. Think of AMPK as your body's master metabolic switch, the signal that tells your cells to start using energy more efficiently. When that switch is on, something important happens. Your cells absorb glucose from the blood more effectively. Your liver produces less sugar on its own, and your body becomes more responsive to insulin. One step at a time, each of those effects matters for blood sugar control. And here's why researchers paid attention. That's the same core pathway through which metformin works. Which raised a question nobody expected to be asking. Could a plant compound do what a prescription drug does? In 2012, a meta-analysis pulled together data from 46 randomized clinical trials on berberine. The conclusion was striking. Berberine showed comparable effectiveness to metformin in 3 key areas: fasting blood glucose, HbA1c, which is your average blood sugar over 3 months, and triglycerides. In one direct comparison trial, patients with type 2 diabetes took either berberine or metformin for 3 months. The blood sugar reductions in both groups were statistically similar. That's a meaningful result. 46 trials carry real scientific weight. There was also an unexpected finding, one most berberine videos skip entirely. Berberine showed more consistent improvements in lipid profiles than metformin across several studies. Total cholesterol, LDL, and triglycerides dropped more reliably in the berberine group. That wasn't what researchers were primarily looking for, but it showed up in the data repeatedly. Worth knowing about before we get to the part that complicates the picture. What comes next is the part almost no berberine video touches, and it's the part that matters most. If that's the kind of breakdown you've been looking for, hit subscribe. It takes 1 second. You've probably heard berberine called nature's Ozempic. It's been all over social media, morning shows, health podcasts. The comparison is understandable. Both affect blood sugar. But mechanistically, they're doing completely different things. Ozempic mimics a hormone called GLP-1. It signals your brain to reduce appetite, slows how fast your stomach empties, and creates a strong feeling of fullness. That's why weight loss on Ozempic can reach 10 to 15% of body weight in clinical trials. Berberine doesn't work through GLP-1 at all. It works through AMPK, a different pathway, with a different effect profile. It doesn't suppress appetite the same way. It doesn't slow digestion the same way. The actual weight loss numbers for berberine across studies: roughly 2 to 2.5 kilograms over 3 to 12 months. Real, measurable. But not remotely in the same category as a GLP-1 drug. Berberine is a metabolic support compound with legitimate blood sugar evidence behind it. The nature's Ozempic framing does it a disservice, because it sets expectations the science doesn't support. This is the section most berberine content stops before reaching. First, bioavailability. Berberine has a bioavailability of less than 1% in standard form. Here's what that means practically. Most of what you swallow never actually makes it into your bloodstream in active form. Your gut absorbs it poorly, it breaks down quickly, and your body clears it before it can build up to effective levels. Think of it like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. You're putting water in, but not much is staying. Some manufacturers address this with a form called berberine phytosome. Berberine bonded to a fat-like molecule that significantly improves absorption, but the majority of products on the market use standard extract. And almost none of the labels mention the difference. Second, drug interactions. This one matters, especially if you're in the 45 to 65 range and managing your health with prescription medications. Berberine affects how your liver processes certain drugs. In practical terms, if you're taking statins, berberine can increase the concentration of the drug in your blood, raising the risk of muscle-related side effects. If you're on warfarin, the blood thinning effect may become stronger than intended. If you're already on diabetes medication, adding berberine can push blood sugar lower than expected. These aren't edge case scenarios. They're documented in the literature, and your doctor may not bring them up, simply because berberine isn't on their radar as something patients are taking. If you're on any regular prescription medication, have that conversation before adding berberine. That's not fine print for the sake of it. That's genuinely the most important thing in this video. So, does berberine actually rival metformin? The blood sugar data across 46 trials says, yes, the comparison is real. The AMPK mechanism is legitimate science. The lipid findings are a genuine bonus that deserves more attention than it gets. But berberine isn't metformin, and it isn't Ozempic. There's also a practical catch. Without addressing the bioavailability problem, you may not be absorbing the doses the studies actually used. The research typically used 500 milligrams 3 times daily with meals, 1,500 milligrams total per day. That's worth checking against whatever label you're looking at. If you're otherwise healthy and looking for metabolic support, the evidence is genuinely interesting. If you're managing a diagnosed condition and already on medication, this is a conversation for your doctor, not a YouTube video. That's the honest read. And that's what this channel is here to give you. If you learned something today you didn't know before clicking play, hit like. It takes 1 second, and it helps this research reach the people who actually need it. And if you want evidence-based analysis on every major supplement, subscribe.